Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel True Stories. Before I could start, I would like to give you a warning that this crime story may consist of violence and murder, which could be a subject of disturbance, and if so, please do not continue listening. Today's story took place in Yemen, officially the Republic of Yemen. It is situated to the southwestern corner of Arabian Peninsula. Now, the character of today's story, I would like to name him Khalid. Khalid here was a teacher of the subject of Quran in the village. Quran is the holy book of Muslims. This man was well-mannered, humble, and very down to the earth. People really admired him for his good personality. Khalid, as his second job, used to pick and drop people from one village to the other. On this specific day, Khalid decided to take a shortcut. The road he planned to take was passing on the side of the valley, and it actually passed through the farms which were there, where they cultivated almost everything, including cat. Let me give you an idea what cat is. Cat is the national plant of Yemen, and people use the leaves of cat to chew on it, mostly the male, and this cultivation consumes much of the country's agricultural resources. Among the farms that he was passing through was the farm of, I would name him Haj Muhammad. Haj Muhammad had a farm which was just on the side. Now he saw 5 people running and carrying stolen stuff, including the harvest from the farm of Haj Muhammad. At first he thought that he shouldn't involve himself or interfere, but later, after concentrating and taking another look, he saw a person who resembled his son to a very large extent, or I would say he was very similar to the son. His son was almost 23 years old. He wasn't sure, so he started chasing the man. He called out his name, and that person stopped, including his friend. The rest were able to escape. Khalid knew that this is his son because he, just after calling out his name, stopped, and the other person was the son of his neighbor. Khalid went to the boys and started beating them. The reason of beating them was as though he was punishing them or trying to discipline them on their wrongdoing. As he was hitting the boys, one of the neighbor's son, got a thick stick which he already had and struck him. Khalid here immediately fainted and fell on the ground, and these boys were able to escape. After hours passed by, and until we would say the dawn break, Haj Muhammad, who was the owner of the farm, was passing by. At first he saw shoes or a motorbike which was left alone, and he started to search and look for whom these things belonged to, or the owner of these belongings. He saw Khalid lying down between the fields and tried to wake him up by yelling, asking him what was wrong and what had happened to him. It was clear that he was attacked by people. It was clear that he had maybe a bruise on his head. Then he asked what was wrong as he was asking and inquiring that what's wrong with you, what happened. He started questioning him that what was wrong. He said, when I was here passing by, I saw 5 unknown people who were masked, and then they were stealing from your farm and from your harvest. I started chasing them and tried to get my hands on them, but they attacked me. Then he asked, Haj Muhammad asked him, did you recognize them? Or did you see them? Do you remember their faces? He answered no. He said the thieves were wearing a mask, a face mask, while carrying out the crime. Well, he answered no because he couldn't expose his own son. The first thing, he couldn't believe, of course, that his son was involved in such a thing. But at the very end, he was a father and he thought this was the right thing to do. Now the man here, Haj Muhammad, treated Khalid's wounds and treated him in his house. He went back and started searching for his son. Now he was wondering how could his son do such a thing. We cannot blame him because he was a teacher, a well-known Quran teacher who was helping kids to memorize Quran. He was God-fearing, he was a virtuous man and a man of morals. But then he also accepted the fact that he could find his son and fix problems, make him feel the guilt of what he has done. Upon returning home, he was looking for his son for 2 days. He just wanted to ask his son and the others about the whole story of stealing goods. And why was his son acting against out at him? Now, the best thing he could do, that he sat or stayed for 2 days watching and monitoring the entrance of the village. He stayed there all night long, just waiting and watching every person leaving and entering the village. Later, he saw 5 men carrying stuff at their backs, and he was observing and looking for what they were up to. So he started following them silently. Now, after he started following them, he found out that they entered a house. It was a house of a married lady, and she was living only with her daughters. Her husband here used to work, and he used to be out for 2 to 3 months. Now, these 5 young men entered the house of this woman at night. Khalid was astonished that why would 5 young men enter the house of a woman at night? He was waiting. They entered the house, but they didn't go out until dawn. Later, they left. Next day, the same thing happened. They entered the house while carrying some stuff and accompanying, I would say, harvest with them. And they entered the house at night and didn't come out until dawn. At the 3rd day, after a lot of thinking, Khalid tried to make out what was the relationship between the woman and the 5 men. I mean, it was clear for him that it is a gang. Was it clear for him that this woman would be involved, or are they using her house by abusing her or any other way? So he was about to find out this fact by himself. He went to the door and knocked at the door. As soon as the woman opened the door, he asked, "Do you know this young man of 23 years?" Of course, he gave her the name. She rejected. Means she was at first speechless, of course, but later on she said, "No, I don't know anyone of this name." He said, "I saw 5 young men entering your house and leaving at dawn." Now, the woman here got a chance. Maybe she got a chance to show that how innocent she was. So she started screaming at him that, "How dare you say such a thing? You know that I'm a married woman living here with my daughters, and you're blaming me of being a dishonorable woman." It was very clear that she was petrified. When she answered that she had no idea, it was clear that this was the only way she could make the man go back and think again, that if he was about to speak about her, she would try to blame him for destroying her reputation, humiliating him. He said that, "I'm sorry and forgive me, because apparently maybe I was wrong, maybe I'm delusional, but I have no idea that this could have happened." Now he knew, and he had an idea that this woman was involved in the subject of thefts. And he did have a proof. He himself was the proof. But she denied. She denied that she didn't see them entering or leaving at dawn in her own house. And she denied that they were carrying stolen stuff. This woman was completely in denial, and she was refusing to admit the truth. That means she was hiding something. Obviously, Khalid didn't have any idea, slightest idea, that how he could handle this situation. He could just go to the cops and tell them about the whole story. But once again, there was another problem here. Everyone loved and respected and appreciated her because she was a good woman. They thought she was a good woman with a good character, decent and honorable, but only during the day. By night, she was the head of a gang. Now, no one in the village knew about what was happening, or maybe if she was involved in actually encouraging or making these young men involved in such crimes. Now, Khalid alerted the leader of the gang and the gang by revealing that he was the witness of the crimes that had been happening, and that his son is also involved in the crime. So now it was a matter that she had to discuss with her gang. So she asked them that now this man knows everything. What's next? Well, she suggested that now, after we know that he's the witness, we have to get rid of him. The first person to agree on such a thing was his own son. He said, I'm in. I'll do whatever it takes to protect our work, which is what we want to do, and it's going well together and we are gaining profit. I mean, he was thinking about the money, and he chose money against his father. Means, frankly, he sacrificed whatever he had, the relation of fatherhood. When they decided that they had to kill Khalid, the first one was his own son. He said, I'll kill him first. Now, one night, as usual, this poor man was busy in picking and dropping people. And as usual, he finished his job and he was returning at 1 a.m. When he was returning, he found a tree trunk on the road. So he stopped to actually pick the tree trunk and complete his way. As he got down from his bike to pick the tree, all of a sudden, these 5 men charged him with knife and axes. The first one to hit him was his son, aiming for his head and striking him right on his head. And the man fell. He fell at the death's door and was sinking fast. They started beating him, and they also cut his throat, and this distorted his face so that no one could recognize him. After what they had done, they took the body and threw it in the well, which was near the village. Later, they took the motorbike and sold it, and Khalid disappeared. When Khalid disappeared and no one knew about his well-being, the shock was that his son was searching with his mother for a complete week. For a whole complete week, he was acting as if his father has vanished or is missing, and he was there as a loyal son searching for his father. Not only that, he also went to the police station by himself to report that his father was missing and there was no trace of him. One day, a group of girls they used to go and bring water from the well on a daily basis. And actually all the villagers used to drink from that well and make use out of it. Well, they started smelling something which was unpleasant. The third day, the smell grew stronger and it increased. And they were not even able to remove the water from the smell. So these girls who were actually taking water from the well went to their parents and said about what was going on. They said maybe there is a dead body, a dead animal or a dog who fell in the well and died. So his body would have rotted, and the rotted body is causing smell. As the smell grew and it was impossible for the people to come near the well, now the group of girls which used to go and take water on a daily basis found out that the smell was unbearable. They went to their parents immediately and reported them that how bad the smell was. And they said there was a possibility of a dead animal or a dog to be inside, which would have died inside the well, and the body would have been rotted, and that is what's causing the smell. Well, straight away the villagers gathered, and they said that the only solution is by getting a person who was actually in this field of cleansing or cleaning stuff. He came by, and they said you have to clean the well. They paid him, and he started doing so. Now, as soon as the man started going down in the depth, the smell grew stronger and stronger, till the smell was so bad that that man fainted in the bottom of the well. The man fainted in the bottom of the well, and because he was not holding on to the rope, it was impossible to pull him out. After maybe quarter hour or 15 minutes, they started calling him and he didn't answer. And they thought that something, of course, went wrong. Now, as I said, the smell was so disgusting that even the villagers wouldn't come near the well. So they said if that man got in and something has happened to him, we have to get help. One of the villagers suggested that there's a man who has difficulties in actually smelling or sniffing stuff. He couldn't distinguish between bad or good smell. So they gave him his wage and they said, please take out the person who is inside, and they were hoping that he would be alive, but he was not holding on to the rope. This man went in and he discovered. Now he not only found the man who fainted but was very much alive, he also found a body which was floating. So he came down, tied him up, brought him up again, and then he came down again to take the body out. After he lifted it up or carried the body out, they discovered that the body of the person in it, they couldn't figure it out because the criminals have already destroyed the face and distorted the face so that nothing could appear. But the police here, when they came, they had a list of people who were missing in the village, or the people whose family had reported them missing. There were no fingerprints on the body again. Now, the police had an idea of the people or the list of people who were missing, but the only one missing was Khalid. They examined him and they brought his wife, and the first response of his wife was that, yes, this is my husband. They had a funeral, and it was a sad moment for them to find the body in such a way. They couldn't figure out who was the killer because they didn't have any fingerprints whatsoever. They started asking the villagers questions and interrogating because that was important to know. They also asked the girls questions who were there or present near the well when they first came and noticed the weird smell. The one thing the police was surprised that the son of Khalid was not there during the funeral. They were quite shocked. They went to the mother, the wife of Khalid, and they asked her, why is your son not present? Or did he come to the funeral actually? But she answered that he is a person who is a backward human being. He'll not understand. They said it's not the matter of his character. The matter here is not the matter of his character. The matter is that he was supposed to be there. I mean, of course, when they asked questions, it could be that he had traveled somewhere, so they had to make sure. But she did say that this was not the reason, or there was no other reason, except him being stubborn. Now the investigators noticed that his son was not there. He didn't show up when they found the body. He didn't show up at the funeral. And then, after more inquiries, they also knew that there were more people who were missing from the neighborhood. One was Khalid's neighbor's son, and there were 3 more. So, of course, these 5 all at once were not present in the village. And they wanted to know where they went. So they informed all the other villagers, and they said that if you see one of these 5 men, please inform us immediately. Now, someone from the other side of the village gave them a call to the police and said that I have seen them. The whole security squad got prepared, and they were about to find out where these men were and arrest them. Now, they arrested them and took them for investigation. And they wanted to know if they had something or anything to do with Khalid's murder, especially his own son. And they did ask him that, why didn't you attend your father's funeral? Well, at first, they were unable to answer these questions. It was hard for them to actually give a reason, especially the son. So they confessed. Actually, all 5 of them confessed. And of course, they said that this person tricked me, but we are talking about young men. We are not talking about children. Well, the 5 men, after confession, also confessed that the lady, the owner of the house, was the head of the gang. And she was responsible, and she was the one who used to plan. The police here went to her house and knocked at the door. No one answered. But a man passing by did say that she has gone to her parents' house for a few days. So they, again, a security squad, went to her parents' house and they arrested her. This lady here first denied to everything what had happened. They confronted her that the young man confessed to the whole case, and they also said that she was the one who was leading the gang. They said she was responsible. They used to steal stuff, and she was the one who disposed these goods. After 2 months of this event and this story, they were referred to trial, and the 5 were sentenced to retribution, but later the verdict actually didn't finish. The trial didn't end, but later it was not decided yet. So this lady was actually the one who made a son go against his father. She was the one who tricked these young men to do such a thing. But in the end, I don't know how harsh a son or daughter could be to their parents. Parents are a blessing. Everything given by God Almighty is a blessing, and life itself is. What leads a person to commit any crime is complex. What causes them or eventually leads them to break the law is somewhat complicated, but I have a firm belief that these people are far from God. Trust Him, pray, and believe Him, and you can never go wrong. At last, I would like to end the story with a verse from the Holy Quran, reminding us our biggest gateway to paradise. And the verse is, "And out of kindness lower unto them the wing of submission and humility, and say, My Lord, bestow on them thy mercy, even as they cherished me in childhood." Thank you all for listening. Please do not forget to subscribe my channel, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you.